Welcome to this new video. Today we're back to making content dedicated to a team of our Italian football, which unfortunately today is going through a very difficult moment, but which represents a historic club of Italian football having participated in over 20 top-tier championships. Today, we will retrace the history of Lazio, starting, as usual, from the club's origins up to the present day, unfortunately for the Spal and its fans, quite bulky. Before we start, however, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activating the bell so you don't miss new content, like and comment. Enjoy the show. The beginning of what would become the Spal dates back to 1907, when priest Pietro Acerbis was the director of the Oratory of Via Coperta, founded the Art Labour's Circle, later combining sports activities with artistic ones. The football section was established in 1910, initially adopting the name Ferrara Football Club, with official colors white and light blue, taken from the society's coat of arms of San Giovanni Bosco of the Salesian community. In 1913, the sports section became independent, and in 1919, the team adopted the name Spal, an acronym for Società Polisportiva Ars e Labour. Ars e Labour. The team made its debut on the 16th of June 1919, losing 1-4 against Triestina, however, took its revenge later that same year, beating them 1-0 of Bardati. Between 1920 and 1925, Spal played in the top championship of the first category, reaching the national semi-finals in the 1921-22 season, being defeated by Sampierdarinese, one of the two offshoots that would go on to create Sampdoria, 2-1. In the 1932, Spal competed in Serie B and Serie C, and in 1939 took on Ferrara Football Association, adopted its name, and the black and white colors, taken from those of Ferrara's civic authorities. During this period, the Milanese club launched several players who later moved on to much bigger stages such as Bertacchini, Scarbi, and Romani, the top scorer in Spal's history, with 129 goals. At the end of the Second World War, it returns to the name Spal, as well as the blue and white colors, while the team competes in Serie C. A turning point is the arrival of Paolo Mazza to the Estense presidency. Mazza, who had previously been the coach of the white and blue club on two occasions between 36 and 39, brings the team back to Serie B, with the clear intent to aim for the top division. During this period, stand out the transfers dictated by Mazza, who manages to obtain excellent capital gains with players like Astori, Andolfini, Prisi, De Vito, and Ciccarelli, who brought significant value of Imago di Campagna. The 1950-51 season was the first Serie B victory in Spal's history. The team, led by Antonio Gianni, won the championship with 58 points, only 7 defeats, qualifying for Serie A for the first time in its history. From this moment, Spal will establish itself in the top division, developing players like goalkeeper Bugatti, who will reach the national team, Morbello, Fabio Capello, Alberto Bigone, Eduardo Reja, and Luigi Del Neri, among others. International profiles will also arrive in Ferrara, such as the Brazilians Sorio and Ferracin, and the German Wallner, the Swedes Ackner and Sandell, or the Argentinians Montagnoli and especially Oscar Massi, considered, who ended up at Inter, will become the iconic player of this team in Serie A, playing in Ferrara for 9 seasons and scoring 52 goals. The best ranking of this golden period dates back to the 1959-60 season. The team came from a revolution, which had seen 8 players leave, and new ones arrive. Other players named, led by Fioravante Baldi, the starting lineup included Nobel in goal, Pichi, Balleri, Ganza and Mozzo in defense, Micheli, Novelli, and Corelli in midfield, and Rossi, Massi, and Morbello, top scorer with 12 goals, up front. That squad finished the championship in 5th place, with 36 goals, tied with Bologna and Padova, and behind only Juventus, Fiorentina, and the Milan teams, which remains the best Serie A placement in the club's history. In the season, in 1961-62, La Spal reached the Coppa Italia final, losing 2-1 against Napoli. Initially taking the lead, they took the lead over the Campanians, with Lex Corelli equalizing the score and Micheli, but then Tantano, Aronson scored to definitively put Napoli ahead, giving them their first trophy in history. In 1964, after 13 consecutive years in Serie A, the Estensi finished the season in second-to-last position. They were relegated to Serie B. The stay in Serie B lasted only 1 completed season. In 3rd place in Serie B, under the leadership of Francesco Patagna, not new Andrea, which leads to the top division, which was maintained until 1968. In 1968, Serie A was reduced from 18 to 16 teams, and finishing 14th therefore, led to relegation to Serie B. The following season proved to be even more dramatic for the Estensi, who finished in 9th or 8th position in Serie B, relegating to Serie C, descending in only 2 years. From the first to the third level of national football, President Mazza promises a swift rise, but the 1969-70 season sees La Spal miss promotion in favor of Massa, causing the reaction of the fans, who for the first time criticize President Mazza. After 4 years of Serie C, La Spal returns to Serie B in the 72-73 season, initially led by Fantini and from October by Cacciali, and driven on the field by Pezzato, who became the top scorer. The Mazza era ends in the 1976-77 season. The leadership of the club passed to Primo Mazzanti, who was already a club executive. On the field, however, Spal was relegated again to Serie C, with him sitting on the bench at Arezzo. Once again, Cacciali brings the team back to Serie B, leading his squad to dominate their own Serie C group, finishing ahead of Lucca and in second place. The 1982 sink even further. See Spal. In the 1981-82 season, the Estensi were relegated to C1, and after 2 good fourth places, achieved with Gaglioni in 1984 and with Mazzola in 1987. In 1989, they finished second to last in Group DA and thus relegated to C2 for the first time in their history. The 90 began with a change at the top of the club. In 1990, the club was taken over by the construction cooperative of Ferrarese Coop Costruttori and Giovanni Donigaglia, who became the new president of the Bianco Azzurri. In the 2-year league, Donigaglia's new club made the double leap from C2 to LAB, winning the playoff against Verona with Sorbiatezza in the 1991 season and winning the C1 championship the following year, with the return of Giambattista Fabbri to the bench. Once in Serie B, the goal is return to the top division. But the promotion squad is dismantled and the team is relegated, again to C1, after only 1 season, finishing in 17th place. After 3 promotion attempts, that went badly, with 2 playoff eliminations at the hands of Como in 1994 and 1996, Donigaglia. He reduces his commitment, and the presidency goes to Bani Guzanati. However, remaining the owner of the club, Nice has a tragic season, culminating in the relegation to C2 at the hands of Alzano Viresit, winner of the playout. Donigaglia thus returns to the presidency and opts for a revolution, entrusting the expert manager, Ranzani. At Panchina, there is Gianni De Biasi is chosen, and the team is thoroughly revamped. Players confirmed from the previous season. Only Intre and Affarari arrive, among others, Cancellato, Fimognari, Pari, and Piero Bono. The clean slate benefits the Emiliani, who win their group in 1997 and 1998, and thus return to compete in C1. Ranzani tries to further strengthen the team to aiming for promotion to Serie B. La Spal, Lucidi, Antonioli, and Ginestra arrive, but the team, after a strong start, sees its goals slip away. This disappointment leads to clashes within the club, which will culminate in the Rodi De Biasi areas. However, the 98-99 season is not completely without joys for the Estensi, who win the Coppa Italia Serie C, defeating Gualdo 1-0 inches the final. After a continuous run in the 90 seconds, which sees the team stationed mid-table, the new millennium begins with another change at the head of the club. In 2002, indeed, during a full economic crisis, Paolo Pagliuso took charge of the club, already president and owner of Cosenza, who appoints Inodinarto as president. The new experience with Pagine lasts only briefly. The team will never manage to achieve the much longed-for promotion, also introducing a young Massimiliano Allegri as coach. In 2005, one of the darkest chapters in the history of the Cosenza club is written when it is excluded, not only from Serie C 1 2005 to 2006, but also from professional football, due to financial distress that causes the company's bankruptcy. In the summer of 2005, therefore, a new club is founded, called Spal 1907, led by the entrepreneur Adil Gianfranco Tomasi, who would revive football in the city by entering the team into the championship of C2, 2005 to 2006. The first attempts to rise back were certainly not successful, despite the arrivals of players like La Groteria, Sesa, and Bizzo. Spal will stop. On 2 occasions in the playoffs, the team was eliminated by Paganese in 2007 and by Portogruaro in 2008. In 2008, Tomasi handed over the club to Cesare Butelli, and Spal was reinstated in Serie C1, recently renamed Lega Pro Prima Divisione. Butelli's first 2 seasons in charge of Spal coincide with a surprising 6th-place finish in the 2008-2009 season, under the guidance, and a 7th-place finish in the 2009-2010 season, under the guidance of Stefano Notari. The early 2010 seconds see the return of economic problems for the Extensa club. In the 2011-12 championship, Spal starts with a 2-point penalty due to non-payment and employees. During the tournament, the penalty points will increase to 8, and there are filings for bankruptcy are presented by some employees and suppliers. On the field, Spal finishes the championship in 4th place, fighting to remain in the league before the playoffs against Pavia. The first leg ended 0-0, while the return leg, the Lombards conquered Ferrara 0-2, condemning the White Blues to the second season in Lega Pro. However, Spal would never participate in this tournament. On the 13th of July 2012, the Estense club was excluded from the championship, not appealing and therefore expelled by the FIGC on the 11th of September 2013. In the summer of 2012, the sports club was created of the Real Spal Amateur Club, led by Ben Asciuti and Ranzani, and the team restarts from 7D. The economic problems, despite the new management, do not leave the team, which during the 2012-13 season fails to pay the players who even refuse to train. In the summer of 2013, the club's structure changes again, passing into the hands of Colombarini, and merges with the already established team, taking the name Spal 2013 and participating in the championship. In the 2013-2014 Serie D, where 6th place grants promotion, the second half of the season starts poorly. Under the guidance of Oscar Brevi, despite the initial poor results, the club nevertheless remains supportive of Brevi and confirms him. A decision that proves successful as Spal climbs the standings, reaching 1st place. A period of decline eventually leads to the relegation zones of Brevi, who is replaced by Semplis, who leads the team to a final 4th place. The 2015-2016 season confirms Semplis as the coach. The team is also strengthened and immediately positions itself near the top of the standings, closing the first half of the season in 1st place. The mathematical promotion to Serie B comes with 2 games to spare. Drawing 1-1 against Arezzo, it had been 23 years since Spal last played in Serie B. That season, the Estense also won the Lega Pro Super Cup, defeating Vento and Cittadella convincingly. For the return to the Cadet League, a team is built to stay in the league. A mix of young and more experienced players arrives in Ferrara, including Mir, Buoni, Fazi, and Del Grosso. Chattarella and Antonucci arrive, while the pillars of the squad Lazzari, Gianni, and Mora are confirmed. After an initial adjustment period, near the end of the first half of the season, Spal finds itself surprisingly high in the standings. In the second half of the season, they replicate the good performances shown earlier. After the break, and thanks to a streak of 5 consecutive victories, the Estense have taken the top spot of victories of the top standings, distancing Verona and Frosinone, the 2 main contenders for 1st place. The historic and long-awaited promotion to Serie A arrives with 1 match remaining, despite a defeat against Tonana. The White and Blues return to the top division after 49 years of absence. The season back in Serie A starts sluggishly, despite the arrival of experienced players like Felipe, Poloski, and Borriello. In the second half of the season, the situation changes, also thanks to the investments with the winter signings of Kurtic, Thiago Tionek, and Everton Luiz. Spal will maintain their league status by finishing in 8th or 7th place, securing survival thanks to 3 wins in the last 4 matches against Verona, Benevento, and Sampdoria. The following season is inconsistent for Spal, alternating periods of brilliance and others of decline, but still manages to secure survival with 3 matches to spare. Finishing in the 20th final position, the 2019-2020 Serie A is the last one that sees the participation of Spal. Following significant transfers, including the notable one, Mano and Aze Realazio, Spal fails to maintain the league, relegated with 4 match days to spare and finishing their last Serie A season in last place. With the 2000s decade, we then witness the transfer of the club into the hands of the Italo-American entrepreneur Giota Copina, already active in football with Roma, Bologna, and Venezia. What should be a turning point in Spal's history, which for the first time will attract the interest of an international investor with previous experience in sports entrepreneurship, instead marks the beginning of the new dark times of the club's existence. Copina arrives in Ferrara with the clear intent to bring the team back to Serie A. In reality, the Italian-American makes every possible mistake, effectively worsening Spal's position. Year after year, Copina takes over the Estense team, coming off 9th place in the 2020-2021 season. His first move is to bench the unknown Catalan coach Pep Clotet, who lasts only until January, being replaced by Venturato, who finishes in 15th place. The following season sees the initial confirmation of Venturato, who lasts only 8 matches before being replaced. from the debutant Daniele De Rossi, who scored a remarkable 15 points in 16 matches, and is in turn replaced by Massimo Odo. However, the problems certainly do not end here, because with the arrival of Odo creates an internal rift involving Copina and director Lupo, who is consequently removed. Affected by this ongoing club dispute, the team suffers and competes in a disappointing championship, finishing in second to last place, thus relegating to Serie C. Copina plans an immediate comeback, and thus he decided to wipe the slate clean of the previous management, appointing Filippo Fusco as manager, and Mimo Di Carlo was on the bench. After only 2 victories in the first 5 matches, Di Carlo was replaced by Colucci, who will then be replaced again by Di Carlo in February, who will eventually finish in 11th place. The team seems to be in freefall, and results worsen year after year, and the Serie C, during this last season, was maintained only due to the victory over Milan. Futuro is certainly not invincible. Despite securing survival on the field, the team will not participate in the next Serie C championship. Maybe it will participate in Eccellenza. Maybe not even that. In a statement on June 7, the ownership felt the need to specify that the club is not currently bankrupt, but it's close. By June 6, €3 million should have arrived. It is necessary to register the team for the C1D 2025-2026 championship. Tacopina also spoke about how he tried to find new investors for the club, but they pulled out after seeing the B fans of the Extensa club, who allegedly caused brawls after a raid at the Bianco Azzurro training ground. Tacopina thus points the finger at the supporters and Spallone, this time pointing the finger to blame, since the media had already shown it on the day of relegation. In Serie C, maybe the finger should be pointed at the mirror, since as we said earlier, from the arrival of Tacopina, who came with the goal of restoring the club, the results have worsened year after year. Moreover, the new ownership has put the club and the fans in a state of constant uncertainty, continuously changing plans and the people responsible for implementing them. Another fault of the American was to have created a deep rift between the ownership and its fans, making it unbridgeable with that middle finger mentioned earlier. Besides the men's first team, another major defeat is the dismantling of the sector. The youth and women's sections, years of work and generations of passion swept away in a few years. What future then awaits Spal? Despite Tacopina insisting that the club is not bankrupt, meanwhile it is out of professional football. They would therefore restart from Eccellenza upon payment of €100,000. My greatest wish for the Estensi fans is that the path of Spal is the separation of Giota Copina, and that they never meet again. There is talk of interest from the Campari group, which, according to Estens.com, has already initiated contacts with the current owners. According to Ferraria 24 the group led by the Italo-Argentine entrepreneur Guam Martin Molinari, who has already had experience at Perugia, is the closest to acquiring Bianco Azure. Those who, on arrival, one must keep in mind that there is a historic club to revive and fans to reconquer. A passion to revive before thinking about one's own and pursuing such legitimate goals of Guilaño. To the fans, keep strong. After the rain, the rainbow always comes, no matter how long the storm lasts. I hope you liked this video. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Activate the notification bell so you don't miss new content. Like and comment. We'll see each other in the next video.